Greetings and welcome back to another Kris Yeti's news review. Let's get right into it because we got so little to cover and so much time to do it in. Wait, strike that, reverse it, let's go. We have the Los Angeles Times here. Expert claims slow start to reopening economy. But I'm pretty sure that Californians have been on the beach anyways this entire time. So COVID-19 has brought forth a lot of different unique challenges for politicians to try to figure out. One of them has been telling us back and forth if mask or no mask have been the best choice. At first they said no mask because we need to save them for when shit gets really bad. And then they said wear mask and you're dumb for not wearing them. It's funny to see that at some point they will describe why you shouldn't wear a mask with reasons, and then they should explain why you should wear a mask with reasons. The one thing I find really interesting with the mix-up of cultures and masks is if you compare the United States to somewhere like Japan, they have much more cultural awareness of wearing masks just in a general sense. And then in the U.S., you have people basically rioting that they have to wear masks to go outside. It's against their liberties, their freedoms. It's, strike this down. We can't have any of this. It's appalling, embarrassing, and quite frankly, people just need to grow up. We could probably reopen the economy with just the cautionary of wearing masks in public. But unfortunately, people have to complain and gravel about the slightest change to their daily lives. It doesn't make sense to me to get so upset over something so small. How about Vice President Mike Pence? He set the perfect example by going to the Mayo Clinic not wearing a mask. I'm sure he's well aware of his influence on the country. If the administration is suggesting that you should take certain actions for COVID, and then you go and you defy those actions, politics are all about reading in between the lines. They like to make expressions and metaphors and analogies and all those political art drawings that we're so used to seeing that look so goofy. So it's a bit disturbing to see that the chief of this branch is blatantly trying to make a point different than what he's encouraging the citizens to take hold of. In Stillwater, Oklahoma, they had an issue where the first day that people were starting to return and businesses were opening, they asked for them to wear masks going into them. However, there was, let's just call it protesting, about having to wear these masks. There's gas stations that have signs that says, if you have no shoes or no shirt, then there's no service. This is just another article of clothing. Individuals are so not familiar with wearing it that it's perhaps embarrassing to them. Let's take another example where you have banks. I've seen signs where they have a circle with a little slash through it with a guy wearing glasses and a hat. And it's like, please don't come in here with your face covered up. And so many people have committed crimes with masks or face covered up with all sorts of crazy designs that banks and other places have had to take measures to say, please don't come in here if you're dressed like this because we just don't even take the risk. But how are these examples acceptable? And then when you look back at people getting upset about having to wear a face mask to go into the public, that it becomes a problem that the local government reverses what they enacted in the first place. The government, any government, whether they make the wrong or right choice, I think that it is extremely rare that it's ever a good decision to change decisions in the middle of a decision being made. You have to let things play out and see what they're going to do, at least to some degree. But you can't immediately within hours decide, oh, we're taking a reversal on this because we've heard a lot of phone calls. Stand your ground, men. It looks like things are really heating up between China and the United States. So at first you hear a lot of rattling about how the U.S. is blaming China for anything from a crazy conspiracy to simply just pure negligence in the way that they operated and informing the world that it was spreading so rapidly. Now that things are going on, the battle seems to be taking one punch here, one punch there. And the latest is that China is saying, well, can you go ahead and prove that you found evidence that we did it? It's a classic argument that makes sure the conversation stays on course. There's very few situations in all of human history where we've stopped, analyzed our mistakes, made changes, and then enacted them. It's almost like it's a miracle that kind of stuff ever happens. This is certainly not one of them. Murder hornets are taking over the internet right now. Murder hornets! Almost every single headline out there is using the word murder hornets to describe large Asian hornets. Let me get this straight. All hornets are murder agents. Let's not try to say that the bigger ones are more frightening. Honestly, I scream like a girl around every little hornet and I start chasing them with tennis rackets. Not only do all hornets look super menacing, but we can't just judge them by their size. Hornets don't even make honey. If we could have some kind of honey that we could steal from the hornets like we do the bees, then that would be a better argument to keep them around. But for now, let's just go ahead and call them terrorist hornets to give them a better phrase. SpaceX is going to be launching the first humans on May 27th. This is incredibly exciting because they're a private entity and will no longer be relying on Russian rockets to get us to the International Space Station and beyond. If you don't know me already, I'm a huge advocate for space technology and pretty much anything related to space. With that said, I'm a supporter of the United States Space Force, not because of who created it or why it was created. I think that it's a necessity that the United States military is going to need more and more as the years go by. Right now, sure, it's a laughing joke because of what they're doing. They have no processes and they just kind of started. I predict that the United States Space Force will become the largest U.S. military branch in 100 years. At some point, we will move away from spending tremendous amounts of money on aircraft carriers on the planet's surface and start spending a ton of money on carriers in space. And it looks like everybody's favorite national leader, Kim Jong-un, is still alive and kicking. He's now out and about, clipping ribbons, checking laboratories, and of course smoking cigarettes right after a heart surgery. That's certainly what the doctor recommended. Now he's going to have to clean up all that mess about people fighting over who was going to take his throne if he died. He's got to go after his sister. He's going to go after his uncle. He's going to possibly even go after his dog just because he looked at him wrong. Let's see how it turns out in the next few years. In some other news, DJ Khaled has been ambushed by a twerker. He covered his face and was like, "No, my wife's watching, please. I can't look at another girl. I can't look at you." Apparently, DJ Khaled has never been on Omegle. Moreover, Jennifer Lopez was filmed giving butt jiggling lessons to Shakira, who, by the way, is, I believe, the hip-shaking queen. So why she's taking lessons from J-Lo is anybody's guess. But why is TMZ calling it butt jiggling? What's the difference between twerking and butt jiggling? Either way, I'm a fan of butts. I'll take all the jiggling I can get. All right, guys, that's it for another Kris Yeti's news review. I'm going to keep working on this and getting better as I roll along. Please provide feedback and comments, and we'll see you next time.